all the panelists and our attendees. Thanks for bearing with us as we get started here. And yeah, I would like to welcome everyone to our webinar, our press conference launch for elected officials to protect America's New Jersey letter to Governor Murphy on the Transportation and Climate Initiative. So I'm Dominic Frangillo. I'm the Executive Director, co-founder of Elected Officials to Protect America. And EOPA, we are a network of state and local elected officials in 50 states committed to protecting our planet and our communities and the people that we represent from the dangers of the climate emergency and from public health harms. And elected officials to protect America educates through values-based storytelling. We train elected officials and connect and bring together elected officials for strong public health and environmental policy. And yeah, I served myself for 8 years on the Caroline, New York Council and 6 years as deputy mayor. And growing up on a dirt road in a rural town, I saw the value of transportation because I had to walk 2 miles to get to a bus. Line. So I definitely understand and appreciate the importance of more transportation choices for everyone and doing that in a way that creates prosperity and reduces pollution for all. So we're here today because 100 elected officials from 19 of the 21 New Jersey counties have signed on a letter to Governor Murphy urging him to join the final Transportation and Climate Initiative Memorandum of Understanding that will be completed this year. TCI, as we'll cover in the press conference, is a multi-state consortium of 12 states plus the District of Columbia coming together to provide a program and funding mechanisms for clean energy transportation investments in communities that will reduce pollution, promote health, and create jobs and prosperity. So before we dive in, according to a poll conducted by the Nature Conservancy, there's strong public support. 79% of voters in New Jersey who were questioned about TCI support it to improve transportation choices, support New Jersey joining TCI. So we're super excited to have a star-studded cast of elected officials as our panelists today on this press conference. And we will start with Freeholder President Brendan Gill of Essex County, who is the co-chair of Elected Officials to Protect America, New Jersey. And with that, I'll hand it over to Freeholder Gill.
Thank you, Dominic. Thank you so much. And thank you for all of your work on this initiative, on this effort, and for bringing it to our attention and making sure that those of us on the local level who support this initiative are doing everything that we can to make it a reality. I also want to thank my fellow elected officials who I see who are joining us today, representing a really diverse coalition, both from every region of this state and at every level of government. I know we have the Collingswood Mayor with us, who I see, our Hamilton Township President, and my fellow freeholder from Atlantic County, I guess soon to be commissioner after January 1st. So I just want to say hello to each of you. It's an honor to be with all of you, this morning. I'm here and I will be quick, really to speak on this initiative and express the need for all of us, especially leaders at the local government, to prioritize environmental responsibility and advance projects and initiatives that will help make significant strides in this area. So Dominic, you just touched on kind of what is TCI. As you noted, it's a consortium of 11 states in the northeastern and mid-Atlantic region of the United States, as well as the District of Columbia, formed to generate revenue for investment in environmental friendly transportation infrastructure projects, address the needs or the issues of pollution and public health, and aid in the transition to the use of clean energy and lower our reliance on fossil fuels. The issue of global warming and pollution are not new. And due to COVID-19, I believe personally that there's even more of a new sense of urgency, maybe not with some of us who have been committed to these issues for an extended period of time, but definitely in a new way that I think has developed momentum with our constituencies, that we need to do more to protect of our citizens from the dangers of air pollution. Our citizens, particularly in Essex County, are dealing with respiratory issues at higher rates now more than ever. In October, just recently in October, a study published in Cardiovascular Research estimated that about 17% of COVID-19 deaths in North America could be attributed to long-term exposure to air pollution. Pollution just from transportation costs lives, it costs billions of dollars, and it threatens the safety of our residents. I just wanted to also highlight, Dominic, as you did, joining TCI, which I hope the state will do, could bring up to $750 million in revenue to New Jersey communities to invest in clean infrastructure projects and make our communities more walkable and bike friendly and improve quality of life for all of our residents. I just wanted to actually bring a local flavor to this. We have an opportunity in Essex County to create a project called the Essex Hudson Greenaway. It would be a transformative project similar to the High Line in New York, which would be the completion of an 11-mile, 100-width wide stretch of outdoor recreation space, which stretches from Montclair all the way to Jersey City. Essentially what this project would do, and I thought it would just be interesting to highlight because it kind of falls, I think, into this bucket of why TCI is important, is it takes an old freight line that's been out of use for some time and would take that line and make it a passive recreation trail where people would then have the opportunity to connect some of our exurbs, Montclair, Bloomfield, Belleville, and Nutley, to our urban centers, Newark, and eventually all the way to Jersey City. So I highlight that project at the local level to say big picture policy like getting TCI done helps meet those initiatives. So I'm happy, and Dominic, just to be here today to say that we need and hope that the state will do this. Please count on me to do whatever I can to make this a reality. And I really want to thank, again, all of my other co-elected officials who've taken a little bit of time out of their schedule, out of what they're doing each and every day to try to make this a reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Freeholder, President Gill, and soon-to-be Commissioner Gill, for your comments, and really appreciate that. And I think, yeah, the highlighting that you made of the $750 million in revenue annually that TCI can bring into New Jersey communities and the local project, that you highlighted really shows the value of this. So really appreciate your comments and for all of your leadership on this issue. Next, we'll be going to Collingswood Mayor James Malley, Jr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Dominic. I really think there's a line keeps going through my head about this effort of regional work which is that rising tides raise all boats. That's a line we use when we're all cooperating together. It's kind of got a little different meaning to us with this one, where we literally are dealing with rising tides. And I'll tell you, from the local perspective, from being involved in local government for 30 years now, while we all have the best intentions and we all want to take steps to try to address climate issues, and we have made some strides, we've done some things on our own, there is so much that we're unable to do because we don't have the resources. We don't have that ability to coordinate between towns, take advantage of other levels of government and industry in a way that has any meaningful impact. For us locally, just to give you some examples, the Freeholder Commissioner Gill gave us that how it's impacting the county. For us, we've completed studies about alternative transportation. We've had hundreds of people involved. There's great public interest in it. Our town, we sit just outside Philadelphia, and we have a stop on the speed line on the train, which we don't have a lot of that in South Jersey. But we have a stop on the train, and we've done all kinds of studies in terms of improving bicycle pedestrian access, to trying to set up ways in which other parts of our region can make access of that rail. And while we've got a lot of studies that we can fill the shelves with at the public libraries, we don't have the resources to really make an impact to begin to implement them. Same thing runs for electric vehicle infrastructure. I mean, the state's, out in front on trying to encourage electric vehicles, but at the local level, as we would love to have charging stations and improve them, there's a couple programs through BPU, and there's some things that are starting, but it is just nowhere near what we need as a local municipality to try to address those climate issues. We're hoping that making us be a part of a larger regional approach to this will help make more resources available to have a meaningful impact for us. And it's just vitally important for us. We're outside Philadelphia, right outside of Camden. It's also relevant that there's a strong component through the work of the TCI to have a social justice, environmental justice component to this. And I raise that as it's an important issue, but the issues that we're trying to focus on minority areas are one that should be equally as applicable to any area. We want to make sure that the air is clean and that we don't have ill effects from industry in all of our areas. And I think it's important for us here, those justice components, not only for the community that is there, but extend well beyond it. They extend to all of us. So we're very hopeful by engaging in this regional approach that we begin to replace that kind of national focus that we would have liked to have seen. But I think with towns talking to one another, with the states talking to one another, we've got a really good chance to structure something that will be effective, actually work, and get us all taking some steps that kind of pull our climate issues, pull our Earth back from the edge of a lot of very big issues that are very troubling to all of us. So thank you. I look forward to working with everybody, and we're hopeful that the state will sign on to TCI, and we can begin working together to try to make things a little bit better for all of our families. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Malley, for your comments, and really appreciated you saying that the climate emergency is an issue that doesn't respect municipal boundaries or jurisdictional boundaries. And so we need to come together to address it. And this is one way that we can powerfully do that, come together. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. Next, we'll go to Karen Fitzpatrick, freeholder of Atlantic County. Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Dominic. Thank you very much for having me today here. I'm very honored to be part of this group. As Mayor Malley and Freeholder Gill both said, this is a regional effort. It's really wonderful that it's able to bind together North, Central, and Southern New Jersey. We all have different environmental issues. We have different constituencies, but what we all share is a need to get our state to get on board with fighting climate change and producing revenue streams for us to be able to change our environments. Here in Atlantic County, one of our greatest challenges is flooding. We have roads that flood consistently, more than once a month. We have to time our work commutes according to the moon and the weather report, and that's just not practical in 2020 or 2021, especially in an area that is devoted to tourism and ecotourism, which could be a fantastic revenue stream for Atlantic County. We struggle here in Southern New Jersey with a lower population than our friends in the north or in the Philadelphia area. So it's really like a chicken and egg situation. It's difficult to get money here to invest because we don't have a large population, but we won't have a large population unless we invest in our infrastructure and allow people the ability to get to good paying jobs. So flooding and the investment that TCI would enable New Jersey to make in our area, it is a huge issue here in Atlantic County, and one that I'm beginning to be able to work across the aisle in a bipartisan manner with friends on Absecon Island in Ventnor City who have fantastic ideas for creating what Freeholder Gill was talking about, an environmentally friendly outdoor space that takes into account our beautiful environment in an area that used to be a dump. And it's a fantastic idea that I'm happy to be part of now. This would all be more possible with the benefit that TCI would be able to bring to us. That's about all I have. Thanks.
The floor is yours. Thank you, Freeholder Fitzpatrick, for your comments, and really recognize also your perspective as in a rural community as well, and the importance of integrating the state and how important it is to have investments that can create jobs and grow prosperity while reducing pollution in every area of the state to really increase those transportation options for individuals. Excellent. Well, at this time, I'd like to take questions from the audience. We'd love to hear from the media and from the audience questions. So if you'd like to ask a question in person, feel free to put it in the chat, or let us know if you'd like to ask a question in person, and we'll put your audio on as well. So one question is, how will TCI be different from RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, in terms of investing in underserved communities? Great question. Would someone like to address that, or I'd be happy to as well? All right, well, I'd be happy to jump in on that. So the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which was addressing emissions in the power sector, ran into some criticism because of there was a lack of focus on environmental justice. And so with TCI, there's a real push, particularly among advocacy groups. Over 200 advocacy groups have written to the 13 jurisdictions requesting that environmental justice be center in TCI, and have outlined a set of specific policies that should be included. So a minimum level of investments in overburdened communities, increasing air monitoring in high traffic areas, establishing oversight committees of community leaders so that there's community involvement in the process, transparency in the process, and then ensure those projects benefit, low income and communities of color that are impacted the most by pollution. And the TCI states are actually showing movement on that as well, jurisdictions. So already in their most recent webinar, which was their most highly attended webinar, to engage the public, they announced a minimum investment commitment of 35% of investments going into underserved and overburdened communities. So that's a really important first step. And we are here as well to call on the TCI jurisdictions, encourage Governor Murphy to be a leader in calling on the jurisdictions to include environmental justice and equity as a central principle to reduce pollution, particularly for those communities impacted the most. And if anyone else would like to build on.
Well, Dominic, I had a little trouble getting back on here, but I think the biggest difference is that simply that it's a factor, and it's a notable factor, and it ties in with what the state has already set up environmental justice as a factor for just general regulation right now. So the fact that it's a factor here and it's gotten some predominance, then that alone is what the difference is from my understanding of RGGI in the process.
Dominic, if I could just add, I couldn't agree with the mayor more. This the TCI initiative actually helps ensure that the environmental justice bill that the governor just recently signed is implemented. First and foremost, and in my opinion, also TCI calls for the creation of community oversight and involvement. I don't have, and Dominic, you could probably speak to the full list, but I see one of the participants that's also not on our panel, but I know a big supporter, and I see he's with us, is Mayor Bolage of Elizabeth, who's out there right now, and I want to give him a special a shout out for joining us. And I think the support and commitment of the caliber of a person like Mayor Bolage shows to me that we believe that TCI will actually make sure that we are absolutely making sure that that our urban communities, particularly communities of color, are protected and served, and that TCI wouldn't do anything other than do that overall.
Thank you, Freeholder President Gill. Excellent. And we're happy to, and yes, special shout out to the elected officials, all the elected officials who are on the leadership committee, including Mayor Bolage. Thanks for joining. And the next question that we had was, so it's clear that making communities more walkable and bikeable, giving more transportation options will reduce pollution. How will increasing transportation options improve the local economy and increase prosperity?
Well, I can give you my thoughts on that. Our town is going through, over the last couple decades, a rebirth, mainly because it's a walkable, friendly town. I actually date all of this back to, and kind of a resurgence to, back to 9/11. I still really feel that ever since then, there's been just more and more of a movement by people to have more community, to have that feel of neighborhoods, and that really is being that walkable is what's made us. And the last 10-15 years, you see more and more shopping malls trying to create themselves to look and feel like it's an old style town, increasing walkability, trying to recapture that. We always talked about, and some publications talked about us as being like a Mayberry feel. I know for a lot of young people now, they don't know what Mayberry is or was, but it's kind of the old school town, a place to walk where you can walk everywhere. And I think that's it's a huge boon for businesses. We're proof of it. It's been until the spring of 2020, it was all working great. And I think it's going to put us in good stead when we come out of this pandemic we're dealing with.
I'll just add, I couldn't agree more with the mayor. I mean, my hometown is Montclair, born and raised, and what you see is one of the reasons that our community has gone through a what I would call a rebirth and a renaissance in some of our downtown area was this movement towards people really wanting walkability, wanting different types of transportation options, and many communities here, I believe, in the northern part of the state as well. As well as, actually, it's not just limited to the northern part of the state, but our older exurbs and suburbs and in cities, I think, have benefited from that. And this, and kind of teaming good environmental policy with this movement, I think, creates economic development. The specific example of the Hudson Greenway that I gave you, there are projections on, again, just creating that passive recreation trail of driving economic development through the 5 communities in Essex County that are along that trail. So whether it be use by local high schools, for example, whether it be just wanting to take a walk, or whether it be right now you along that trail have railroad crossings that are unkept and in pretty tough shape. just the attention to creating an environmentally friendly project. If you talk to all the local elected officials along the trail, they will tell you that they know that this will drive economic development. It helps with property values. It helps to potentially create other ratables, and then long-term protects the environment. It's a win-win. So I'm in the category of I don't think economic development and safe environmental policy are mutually exclusive. Excuse me. I think you can protect the environment and grow the economy at the same time. And in fact, I think you must do both in order to have long-term sustainable economic growth.
Wonderful. Thank you, Freeholder Commissioner. President Gill, soon to be.
Grand Poobah.
Kind of building.
Yeah, just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that, and that builds on another question that came in, which is, what are the long-term potential benefits of TCI in terms of innovation or infrastructure? For example, could it be used for a high-speed electric rail network within the state? What are some of the potential long-term benefits for New Jersey?
Well, my 2 cents is we don't know, but it's the ripple effects of good things are usually more and more good things. So I would expect that, as I said, I think one of the great outcomes of this pandemic and the regional cooperation that's gone on through this pandemic is one that I even saw today, that there's a regional plan now for traveling hockey teams, youth hockey teams. Well, if we could be cooperating and working together on that, then working off that same platform down the road is going to lead to nothing but bigger and better improvements for us in trying to preserve our climate.
In our area, we basically have a clean slate. We don't have to redo anything. Our public transportation system is minimal at best. It's anemic. And so what this would give an opportunity to do is to put the right kind of public transportation in place without having to reinvent it. We're primed for new where nothing exists. And I think that this program would be fantastic for that, for us in the South.
Wonderful, thank you. Fielder Fitzpatrick. So a couple of other questions coming in. One is a fun question. How is TCI different from a gas tax? Which I'll be happy to address, unless someone else would like to jump in.
Go right ahead.
Okay, great. So obviously this has come up in New Jersey from time to time. So the way that TCI is structured differently from a gas tax is that it's proposed as a fee on polluters with the polluter pay principle. So it would not be a direct cost to people at the pump, and any costs that are passed on from the companies would be from the companies to pass on. And the intent here again is to have polluters pay for the pollution that they create with their products, and that as an incentive to transition to a cleaner transportation system, and then to use the proceeds from dirty transportation, dirty fuels, to be able to invest in that clean energy and that clean efficient transition. And one follow-up question that comes up is what would be a potential price increase? And the modeling that's been done based on the information from the jurisdictions thus far is that any increase in gas prices would be within the usual fluctuation within the year and from year to year over the last 20 years. So it'd be a pretty small amount, and that's how it's structured differently, and why the states are structuring it this way. So it's a polluter pays principle instead of consumer pays. Excellent. And the last question that came in thus far is, what again, with environmental justice, what is important and what is the role of local elected officials in supporting environmental justice in and equity in a program like TCI? And how can local elected officials stand with the state to ensure that TCI has environmental justice principles and equity within its provisions?
Well, it's kind of doing what we're doing right now. It's speaking with a single voice, trying to urge the state to sign on, and then as individuals come about, we, as individual situations come about, that we address them. You know, listening to what our people have to say and moving on that. That is, I mean, that's our lives. That's what we do. So that's how I think it helps.
Exactly. We're the boots on the ground, where we're the ear listening to what our constituents need, and we can put that into the pipeline up to the state. It's difficult to be in Trenton and know what is needed specifically in any one small town or county or area. So that's our job, to listen and then relay that information to those who can make those policies happen.
I couldn't agree more with the mayor and the freeholder. We have an opportunity. The fact that we have 100+ elected officials across the state already, who are, you know, urging the governor to join and sign this memorandum of understanding. We can continue to bring awareness. I pass resolutions of support, non-binding resolutions of support at the local level to let both our state our state folks and our governor know that, you know, we think this is good policy and that it would help us. And, I've been at this for a little while, and, getting 100 elected officials in New Jersey to agree on anything at the local level is a pretty difficult thing. So I think that, shows that we have some early momentum, and hopefully we'll only continue to build and expand on that, create the awareness, be the boots on the ground, pass resolutions, speak publicly about it, weigh in with our governor and others who can help, and also activate, I think our constituencies, who I think deeply care about this and think it would be a good common sense approach to do some long-term good for our state.
Thank you, Freeholder. President Gill. And I think that's a really great segue to another question that came in to local communities. And you mentioned earlier a project locally that this kind of revenue could help fund and benefit your community. What are some other projects as people understand what the benefits might be locally? What are some other projects in your communities that you think would really benefit from increased funding that could help reduce pollution in the transportation sector and make your community more livable?
I'll give you one that's not a Collingswood, not a specific town, but and it's going to require a lot of money. But to help get moving, we need rail. We just need trains. We need rail. The fact that pretty much the only commute in South Jersey into the city, presuming people are still going to the city to work, but there's going to still be a good number of them, is rail service. Just expansion of our rail service. There are plans to run some light rail down through Gloucester County, which will be a help, but having some more rail traffic is really, I think, a vitally important. If you think of North Jersey, what it would be like if you just didn't have trains and it was all cars, and that's pretty much what we're dealing with down here.
I agree completely. That's what we need as well. Rail. We have one train that goes from Atlantic City to Philadelphia, but it takes longer than it does to drive. So that doesn't make sense.
Agree completely. I would even say, one of the places I would like to see our state move as a local elected official is in North Jersey. We have lots of issues that we need to solve in terms of access to the region's core, but I also think just from a transportation planning perspective, and I think this is where TCI can help, we need to think better, in my opinion, about how we move people around within New Jersey. So not only accessing our New York and Philadelphia, their drivers, no doubt about it, but I'm very interested in projects that, from an Essex County perspective, allow people who only maybe live 4 to 6 miles from Newark, but it probably would take you 55 to an hour and a half, to get to anything within the downtown of the city. So we have to use this money to think about projects, in my opinion, in Essex County that continue to allow us to move people quicker and faster and safer and in an environmentally friendly way, because there's no direct access. I would have to take, which even with our rail network, as much as it's built out in North Jersey, from Montclair to Newark, I would have to take 2 trains. So it almost makes, even if I wanted to use public transportation to commute to my freeholder office from my home, it almost makes no sense. So I use as an example to say, I think there are projects, I think there are projects out there that we can look at that we could potentially invest in, through this initiative that would help solve those types of problems.
Excellent. Thanks to each of you for bringing up those, the real need on the ground right now in your communities that this program would really help. It has the potential to help. Another question that came in was, what is it, what will it take for the governor? Will the governor join? And what will it take for lifting up our, the voices of local electeds and others across the state for New Jersey to join TCI? And I know freeholder President Gill, you've
Brendan,
got
that's yours, I think.
A lot of experience in this. Yeah.
Well, I don't listen. It's no secret that I'm a big supporter of the governor and was honored to run his campaign in 2017. But that being said, what we're doing, I think, this is a governor, in my opinion, who has been probably the most active on environmental justice issues that I can remember, over the last 15 years. So in terms of kind of specifically, what do we need to do? We need to do exactly what we're doing right now. We need to make sure that both not only the governor, but I would also say those who help formulate the policy, our DEP commissioner, our people within the policy office who advise a governor, that Dominic, what you're doing, that we have a strategy to not only make sure that the governor hears from us, but the folks who actually help formulate these policies for the governor also hear from us as well. So part of it we're already doing, and I think we just need to get larger. And I think the more we take this message out, the more people that we can show are supportive of this, we'll hopefully have some success. I think the good news is that our governor starts in a place where I think he believes in the broad concepts of what we're trying to do here. So we're checking the box there, so to speak, to start, and that's, I think, believe the place you want to start. And our job is to help kind of push this over the line. The governor likes a lot of sports analogies if you ever watch his press conferences. So we're on the 1 yard line here. So we just gotta get a little push over the top, to put this ball in the end zone.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Well, I think we're at a good spot where maybe we could go around and do, if folks want to do closing comments or reflections, kind of parting words, or if you had a message for the governor or the other TCI jurisdictions, and then we can close out. Freeholder Fitzpatrick, would you like to go first?
Sure, thanks, Dominic. Again, thank you for having this press conference. I feel honored to be in such good company. My message to the governor is to follow through and continue on his work for environmental justice and to deal with climate change. We're getting rid of plastic bags in New Jersey. That's a fantastic thing to do. I think we're on the forefront of these issues in our country, and I just would like to see him sign on to the MOU and move this initiative forward. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Freeholder Fitzpatrick. Mayor Molly.
So for the, that's okay, close enough, Dominic. For the governor, to take Brendan and the analogies, this is a slam dunk. And I think that, I don't think this is gonna be a long, hard battle with him. I think the work that will really be more difficult will be the work carrying forward on doing this alliance and making it have a real impact for people's lives. So that's what I'm hopeful, and I appreciate all of your work and the group the elected officials group that has put this together here in New Jersey to really give a voice and help all the local electeds get involved in this. So thanks.
Wonderful, thank you, Mary Molly. And lastly, Freeholder President Gill.
Thanks, Dominic. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Freeholder, for both of you for your leadership and for joining with me today. And to you, Dominic, for putting this coalition of elected officials together. I would agree with everything that was said. You know, the message to the governor is this, I could not agree more. Slam dunk, that this part should be relatively easy. And then, once we kind of cross this hurdle, the real work begins with those of us at the local level to really implement this in some of the ways that you heard from all of us today. I probably can say, I'm sure I can speak for my colleagues. This is why you do it. This is why you run for a local elected office, because you care about your community, you care about your constituents. And anytime, at least I know anytime I have an opportunity to advance public policy in this way, it makes me feel like this is what it's all about, and it gets me excited and gets the juices going. So, we're here for you to get this done, Dominic, in terms of your work and for our constituents. And Governor, I'll make sure to mention it next time that if I have an opportunity to talk to him. He's obviously handling a lot of things right now, but I will make sure that he knows of the work that everyone's doing here. So I appreciate everyone's time and leadership. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Freeholder President Gill. And yes, would like to thank everyone for coming and thank all of you as panelists and leaders on the Leadership Committee for your incredible, tireless public service and leadership on this issue, bringing this issue forward and really raising it and really acknowledging and appreciating the governor's work, as you said, in this time and really raising this up, because this is a way for us to improve public health, create jobs, increase prosperity while increasing transportation options.
Dominic, just one quick before you close out. Is there?
Absolutely.
Do you want to put something in the chat, because I do see some questions, about how to participate. If somebody would like to find out more information or follow up with their local elected officials.
Absolutely, I'm so glad that
can we put a link in the chat if somebody wants to follow up and ask their local elected officials to sign on?
Absolutely, I'll ask my team to drop that in the chat. It's protectingamerica.net/NJ for New Jersey. protectingamerica.net/NJ. There you can find the letter, more information about why TCI and how TCI will benefit New Jersey communities, and a link to the letter. And for local elected officials that want to sign on, there's a link to sign on. And we will continue to be adding signatories and raising awareness and gathering momentum on this issue. If folks want to email me, feel free to do so as well. My email is dominic@protectingamerica.net. That's Dominic with a C, at protectingamerica.net. With that, I'd like to thank all of our panelists again for your leadership. If you'd like to hold the line, actually, we'll stay on for a little bit afterwards. And would like to thank all of our attendees and media and participants today for joining. With that, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.
So we'll just give it a minute here. Participants jump off. Christian, are you able to focus on the panelists?
Yes, Sam.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So I think we would love to just get your feedback for each of you. Really, again, appreciate all of your hard work on this and you know, lifting this up. We'd love to get feedback from you about you know, what your reflections are about participating in the initiative, and yeah, what your thoughts are joining an effort like this. And I know Freeholder Gill, you spoke to that, and some others as well. So we'd love to capture that if you'd be willing.
I mean, I think you know, what I said on the panel really still, you know, rings true. So let's tactically, I think let's go county by county, and probably I think, Dominic, you could just send to my team kind of the county by county breakdown, and I'm happy to continue to push that out, you know, through my office to encourage more people to sign on. I think there's probably a list of what I would say more influencers who are probably, you know, the commissioner, the policy director, chief of staff, others within the governor's orbit that I think you want to make sure that you're communicating with, and making sure that that they're aware, you know, of this grassroots level support. So also happy to send that list over to you and leave it to, you know, kind of you guys should run with that and follow up there, because I think those are two things that will help, you know, help kind of move this forward. But you know, from a policy standpoint, just great, you know, great to do it and happy to do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And my team also let me know what the question that they wanted me to ask you. So this would actually be for social media.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
No, all good. I didn't.
Oh, you're recording something on this? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I thought you wanted
yeah.
some
Practical. What
my apologies. I didn't have the question in front of me. So yeah, so the question would be for social media, like a 30-second summary of your comments for, you know, why this is important to you, why you're involved, and what your hope is for TCI, with the intent that we could take that 30 seconds and have it as a short on social media. So with that,
So you're asking a politician to sum it up. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, if you had to, yeah, do a little.
Let me collect my thoughts on that for
Absolutely.
a quick second. Just look at my notes here.
Or maybe what this means for your community and why you're involved, and what your hope is for TCI.
I'm probably, Dominic, just going to use the three, which I'm sure is fine. I'm probably just going to use the three, our three kind of main points. You know, the revenue, the issues of public, you know, address the issues of public health, pollution and public health, and, you know, aid to and lower our reliance on fossil fuels. Is that?
That sounds great.
That work? Okay.
So whenever you're ready, if you'd like to go first.
Sure. So thank you, Dominic. I'm so excited to be to help support this initiative, to help make TCI a reality, to hopefully and convince our state leaders and our governor to enter in to this agreement. TCI prevents an amazing opportunity to lessen our reliance on fossil fuels, to improve our environment, to improve our transportation infrastructure, to protect communities that historically have borne the brunt of environmental injustice, and to put us on a pathway to sustainable development. Now, those are a lot of buzzwords with real implications for those of us who serve at the local level. I have the privilege and honor to serve as a county freeholder in the County of Essex, and it is my hope that with the state entering into this agreement, that we at the county level will be able to see potential revenue investment in projects that very simply improve our environment and improve our quality of life for our constituents.
Excellent. Well done. Great. Thank you. Who would like to go next?
I apologize, team. I have a hard stop at 12, so I'm gonna have to hop. But it's great to see everyone. So
See you, Brendan. Take care.
Thank you, and please, anyone, if there's anything that I can do, please don't hesitate.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we will definitely follow up.
Thank you.
And thank you again.
Can I give you mine?
Go for it.
So for a small town like Collingswood, the value of TCI is to develop resources that let us address issues that go far beyond Collingswood and that are far beyond the resources available to Collingswood, and gives us an ability to work with the state and with other states to address these issues that really can only begin to be resolved by having a more regional approach, which hopefully is going to ripple beyond that and bring more and more people into trying to address the issues. So that's the real value for us. The value is to get some meaningful work done beyond the small steps that we do ourselves, knowing that we're a beginning of that, but we're really not having the kind of impact that we need to make any difference for all of our families.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Well done. Karen, last but not least.
Okay. I've been interested in environmental issues for a very long time, and as a county freeholder here in Atlantic County, the opportunity to participate with the climate initiative and help suggest to the governor that New Jersey join the initiative, it is very meaningful, specifically because climate affects Atlantic County in an individual, in a specific way, that where flooding, because our economic driver is on an island and climate change is affecting us in such a dubious way, we are subject to flooding on a regular basis, and we need to have the resources necessary to protect and improve our infrastructure so that we can continue to grow and thrive in the future.
Awesome, wonderful, and we'll definitely edit that. So no, all is good. Yes.
Yeah, make mine sound better too, Dominic. All right.
You were great.
Give me some hair.
We'll enhance.
Give me some hair too.
That sounds like a plan. Cool. Well, really appreciate. I know we're at time here. Really.